Look at the receipt in your hand. It's any random morning, the middle of the week, and you walked into Loblaws for 5 things: bread, milk, eggs, a bag of apples, a block of cheese. 5 items. And the total at the bottom? It's the number that used to fill an entire cart 5 years ago. Here's the strange part. If you turn on the news, they'll tell you inflation is cooling. StatCan says the headline number has settled back down toward 2%. So why does the checkout keep climbing? Why does the line at the bottom of your receipt tell a completely different story than the one on television? Because the grocery bill has stopped following the rules of inflation. In 2026, food is a world of its own. According to Canada's Food Price Report, the big annual forecast out of Dalhousie and the University of Guelph, the average family of 4 will spend just over $17,500 on food this year. That's nearly $1,000 more than last year for the exact same groceries, and food is already 27% more expensive than it was 5 years ago. Your paycheck didn't rise 27%. Your paycheck knows that. So let's walk through why the food bill isn't coming down and who's actually holding the calculator. Start with who owns the store. In Canada, 3 companies control the shelf. Loblaws, with roughly 29% of the market. Sobeys, owned by Empire, with about 21%, and Metro, with around 11%. Add them up, and the big 3 control over 60% of every grocery dollar spent in this country. That's not a market. That's an oligopoly. And here's what most Canadians don't realize. The discount store, the fancy store, and the one in between are often owned by the same parent. No Frills is Loblaws. Food Basics is Metro. You think you're switching companies. You're just switching aisles. Now you might ask, where's the disruptor? In Europe, chains like Aldi and Lidl came in and shattered prices. Why not here? Because Canada is deliberately hard to crack. The country is enormous and thinly populated. The big 3 already own the best real estate, the distribution networks, and the supplier relationships. To enter, a foreign chain would have to build a coast-to-coast supply chain from scratch, in a cold climate, against entrenched giants who can drop prices in your region until you bleed. So they look at the map, do the math, and stay home. The lack of competition isn't an accident, it's the moat. And yes, there's a rule book now. The Grocery Code of Conduct came fully into force in January of 2026, meant to bring some fairness to how the giants deal with their suppliers. It's a start, but a code of conduct is not a competitor. It doesn't build a new chain, it doesn't open a new store, and it doesn't hand you a second real choice on your street. It polishes the behavior of the oligopoly. It doesn't end it. When 3 players own the shelf answers to 3 players, no matter what's written on paper. The second force is hiding in your produce drawer. Canada is a northern country. For roughly half the year, we simply can't grow the fresh fruit and vegetables we eat. So we import them. Nearly $5.5 billion worth from the United States alone, part of almost $10 billion in cross-border produce trade every year. 67% of our vegetable imports come from American soil. And here's the hidden tax. Every one of those items is priced in US dollars. In 2026, the loonie is weak. Your Canadian dollar buys only about 70 American cents. So before a single avocado is picked, before a single head of lettuce is boxed, you're already paying a 30% premium just to convert your money into theirs? That weak dollar is an invisible surcharge stapled to every imported item in the store. You never see it on the receipt, but it's there, in every strawberry you buy in January. The third trick is the one you were never meant to notice. Economists call it shrinkflation. I call it the invisible price hike. Picture a box of cereal. Last year, it cost $7 and held 600 grams. This year, it still costs $7. Same price, same box, same spot on the shelf. But open it up, and it holds 480 grams. They quietly pulled out 120 grams and said nothing. Do the math. $7 for 600 grams versus $7 for 480 grams. That's a 25% increase per bowl. The price tag never moved, so it never showed up as inflation. But your money bought less. And this is the genius of it. Our brains are wired to watch the number on the sticker, not the number on the side of the box. So the manufacturer freezes the price and shrinks the product, and we feel like nothing changed. This is happening across the entire store, quietly, 120 grams at a time. Thinner chip bags, smaller yogurt tubs, fewer sheets on the roll. The headline number stays calm, because the trick is designed to be invisible. The fourth force is distance. Canada is the second largest country on Earth, and the food has to cross it. Think of it as diesel and logistics. A head of lettuce, grown in California, doesn't teleport onto a shelf in the GTA. It rides a refrigerated truck for thousands of kilometers, burning fuel the entire way, kept cold every second so it doesn't spoil. Every one of those kilometers is a line item on your bill. Fuel, drivers, warehousing, refrigeration, all of it gets added before the product ever reaches you. And it compounds. The further north or the further east that lettuce has to travel, the more hands touch it, and the more the meter runs. A family in a big city pays one price. A family in a small, remote town pays that same base cost, plus the extra distance to get it there. When trucking rates climb, they don't climb for the store. The store passes them straight through to you. In a country this big, geography itself is an ingredient in the price. You are not just paying for the food, you are paying for the map. Now here's the cost nobody puts a number on. To fight all of this, Canadians have become part-time economists. It's Sunday night, and you're on your phone with the flyer apps open, price matching between 3 different stores. Eggs are cheaper here. Chicken is on sale there. You screenshot the PC Optimum points, you plan the route, you spend an hour building a strategy, all to save maybe $15. Even the rebate checks the CRA sends out barely dent a bill climbing this fast. That hour is real. That's your evening, your attention, your mental bandwidth, spent doing the work the system quietly offloaded onto you. Call it the time tax. And here's the quiet injustice. The wealthy never pay it. When money isn't tight, you don't price match. You just buy the eggs. The people with the least margin are the ones forced to spend the most time. Poverty isn't only expensive, it's exhausting. And it builds into a feeling. You open the fridge in the middle of the week, you look inside, and something's off. You have a job. You did the shopping. And yet there still isn't quite enough real food in there. That's the modern Canadian squeeze. Asset-rich, nutrition-poor. Working full-time, and still doing math in the dairy aisle. So what actually works? The honest answer is, you can't beat the system, but you can opt out of its most expensive layers. Move your everyday shop to the discount banners. No frills, food basics, the ones that strip out the frills and the markup. Buy the things that keep in bulk, where a Costco run lowers your cost per unit on staples. And lean on the private labels. President's Choice, instead of the name brand sitting right beside it. That house brand is often made in the very same factory, wrapped in cheaper packaging, priced 30% lower. You're paying for the food, not the logo. None of this fixes the oligopoly, but it's how you stop quietly subsidizing it. Step back, and here's the truth. The grocery bill is the pulse of the Canadian economy. It's the one number every household reads every single week, and right now, that pulse is running hot. If food stays this high, it stops being a budget problem and becomes something bigger, a slow threat to the Canadian standard of living itself. Because real wealth was never the big house or the fast car. Real wealth is quieter than that. It's the ability to walk into the store, put what you need in the cart, and reach the checkout without doing the math first. That's the freedom we're actually talking about. And in 2026, for far too many Canadians, it's the freedom slipping away, one receipt at a time. If you learned something from this video, make sure to like and hit subscribe. See you in the next one.